Gory instances of domestic violence and sad tales of child abuse has become a frequent occurrence in Nigeria. Apart from the mandate of fighting human trafficking, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, is also vested with the powers to implement the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, popularly known as the VAP Act, which was signed into law in 2015 to protect all persons against different forms of violence. The Act provides maximum protection and effective remedies for victims while ensuring the strict punishment of offenders. This is NAPTIP on the Move, and I am Emmanuel Okeke. Thank you for joining us. To effectively implement the VAP Act, NAPTIP collaborates with state ministries of women affairs, security agencies, non-governmental organizations, and other state actors. Recently, the agency partnered with some members of the National Assembly, specifically members of the House of Representatives, to carry out sensitization workshops, training and empowerment at grassroots level. Our package today will bring you sights and sounds of these activities. First, we start with a walk against domestic violence and the sensitization workshop in Kwali Area Council, led by the agency in collaboration with Honorable Zachary Angulu Dobi, House Member representing Abuja South constituency. Take a look.
Indigents from Abuja South Federal constituency, comprising of Kwali, Gwagwalada, Kuje and Abaji, joined NAPTIP officials to embark on a walk against domestic violence at the Kwali Area Council. During the walk, leaflets clearly outlining the traits of domestic violence were handed out to individuals from all walks of life. The walk, which effectively covered the 4 area councils, was organized in collaboration with Honorable Zachary Angulu Dobi, House Member representing Abuja South. After the walk, a sensitization workshop on domestic violence tagged "No Excuse for Abuse" took off at the Kwali Town Hall with a welcome address by Honorable Zachary Angulu Dobi, the Honorable Member representing Abuja South Federal constituency.
The essence of this workshop is to sensitize men and women and children on danger of domestic violence and how this violence can be eradicated so that we will have a very peaceful society. Domestic violence is also known as domestic abuse or family violence in a pattern of behavior which involves violence or other abuse by any person against another in a domestic setting, such as in marriage, in cohabitation. Domestic abuse occurs whenever one person in an intimate relationship or marriage tries to dominate and control the other person. It occurs within all ages, ethnic background, and economic levels, while women and children are commonly victimized. Men are also abused, especially verbally and emotionally. It is on this note that participants were drawn from area councils involving men and women who are the victims and at the same time perpetrators of family violence, so that the message of this workshop will get to the target.
In his speech, he shed light on issues of domestic violence and also commended NAPTIP.
This workshop aimed at educating our rural people on the need to respect the dignity of every individual, men, women, and children. We must learn how to respect every individual, his or her fundamental rights, and avoid the use of those things that can promote domestic abuse. For instance, abusers use fear, guilt, shame, intimidation to keep you under his or her control. The abusers sometimes threaten you, hurt you, or hunt for those around you. I want to thank the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, for their support. As you are aware, NAPTIP was set up by the federal government in Nigeria to address the scourge of trafficking in persons, and since its creation in 2003, it has performed wonderfully well.
Representative of the agency, Nurat Lawal, spoke on the mandate of the agency and its achievements since the implementation of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons is a focal agency meant to fight this horrible crime of human trafficking using the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition, Enforcement and Administrative Act of 2015. Domestic violence is a very serious crime which has been in existence in our societies and mostly affects women and girls. We are not saying it doesn't affect men too, but it mostly affects women and girls. Women play important roles in the society. Therefore, they should not be abused or marginalized. The Violence Against Persons Prohibition, that is the VAP Act of 2015, is a law put in place to help curb these heinous crimes. Under this law, the agency has successfully convicted 3 offenders and has about 20 cases in court.
A drama highlighting the ills of domestic violence sensitized and entertained the guests.
The case that we handle, a man beating his wife to death, is that a good thing by elders? What do we do?
What happened? Make a running. I buy her motor and go kwa. What happened to you? Then speak out, let's hear you, woman.
My husband beat me.
What?
He beat me just because of salt was not enough in the soup I cooked today.
Hey!
Can you imagine?
This woman ran into here thinking she'll be saved. But as long as I am, as a police officer, a sergeant in the police work in Nigeria, I'm here to arrest her. With me here is a pistol. Sir, this woman killed her husband. Woman! She killed her husband, which she's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be so. So I'm here to arrest her. His Highness. Officer, yes. You are welcome. Thank you.
My people, it's only love that can bring together. It's only love that can strengthen the family. It's only love that can end this violence. Butashi, until we change, begin with you. But you not change, begin with me.
To further enlighten the guests, a lecture on domestic violence was conducted in Hausa language by the representative of NAPTIP. The sensitization workshop was interactive and well attended. Grassroots sensitization is one of NAPTIP's cardinal strategies towards ensuring the eradication of domestic violence.
The agency also partnered with Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, representing Zaria Federal Constituency, for training and empowerment of youths and women in Zaria, Kaduna State.
In line with the agency's resolve to prevent human trafficking through skills acquisition and empowerment programs, the representative of Zaria Federal Constituency, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, partnered with NAPTIP to carry out training and empowerment of youths and women. The 2-week training comprised of bag making, production of cosmetics, tailoring, and hat embroidery was conducted at a training center established by Honorable Abbas Tajuddin at Abubakar Imam LEA Primary School, Dandutse, Tunuwada, Zaria, Kaduna State. The manager of the training center shed light on its achievements so far.
2,290 students graduated on different fields: computer, tailoring, bags, tailoring, design, and general cosmetics, and is free of charge.
At the end of the training, an event was organized to empower the participants. The event, which was conducted in Hausa language, commenced with a welcome address by Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. Thereafter, goodwill messages were given by various groups and community leaders who commended the initiative. Speaking on the purpose of the training and empowerment program and the mandate of the agency, representative of NAPTIP, Paul Yate, also addressed the participants in Hausa language. Already trained participants were handed certificates of completion and required machineries to aid their work. At the end of the event, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin commended NAPTIP.
We have experienced an unprecedented event which is championed and sponsored by NAPTIP to the great people of Zaria. I am really very, very happy that such kind of empowerment program has been brought to my people. I think it is something that will go a long way in helping to minimize the poverty, endemic poverty that our people are facing. And at the same time, I'm sure it is also concomitant to the goals and objective of this great agency of doing everything possible to prevent girls and children trafficking. And I believe by empowering the youth, empowering the women, we will go a long way in reducing this incidence of trafficking, because most of the people from empirical studies becomes vulnerable to trafficking because of their inability to get something to actually maintain themselves. So with this kind of opportunities being offered to the youth and to the women, I believe we will be able to, in the long run, eradicate this menace that is ravaging this country.
Empowerment of youths and women is pivotal to NAPTIP, as they are the usual targets for human traffickers.
Welcome back. Our next report is another grassroots sensitization by NAPTIP and Honorable Henry Nwawuba, representing Mbitolu Ikeduru Federal Constituency in Imo State. Don't go away.
The women of Mbaitolu Ikeduru Federal Constituency came out en masse to St. Mary's Catholic Church Hall, Ubomiri, Mbaitolu, venue of the one-day sensitization workshop organized by NAPTIP in collaboration with Honorable Henry Nwawuba. The workshop, which was tagged Sensitization Campaign Against Domestic Violence for Sustained Peaceful Cohabitation, commenced with the registration of participants and a welcome address by the representative of Mbaitolu Ikeduru Federal Constituency, Honorable Henry Nwawuba.
Some of our men, they believe that because have a bright price on a woman's head, and when her right to be abusive. Some people say it's our tradition that our wives or our mothers are our properties, not our tradition. And I think that people in our position should come out. Don't be afraid. Be bold enough to stand and face the women and speak against violence. And that is what I'm doing today, by the grace of God.
Various women leaders in their goodwill message advised the women to speak out against domestic violence. Anne Nwabogu of the NAPTIP Enugu Zonal Command, in her lecture, which was conducted in Igbo language, categorized domestic violence into physical, financial, emotional, psychological, and sexual abuse. She also informed the women that child beating also constitutes domestic violence. At the end of her lecture, many women sought clarifications, which were duly addressed. Some of the participants commended the initiative.
We really enjoy this program because of the part we have to play in it. This violence is so much. We are women, mostly the rural women. So we enjoy it and we will carry the message to our village. Down the rural area, we carry the players and we benefit from it.
I learned a lot. And I give all the thanks to Honorable Henry Nwawoba, who took the pen and called all of us together. He invited NAPTIP to come and tell us, to make us know what we did not know about NAPTIP. Of course, we are very conversant with domestic violence because almost all the women that are in this hall have experienced one type or the other type of domestic violence. So today we have known what we did not know. We are very grateful and we say thank you to the NAPTIP that came to create an awareness to us.
Speaking at the end of the workshop, Honorable Henry Nwawoba reiterated his position on domestic violence.
There's nobody in Nigeria that doesn't know that domestic violence is an issue. I personally am against domestic violence. I'm against human trafficking. I stand against girl child hawking and so many other social issues that I'm championing as a legislator. I will continue to attract more awareness and sensitization programs to my women, my youths and my men, to the general constituents, because I do believe that we have some work to do in terms of getting our people to know their rights, getting our people to know that they shouldn't just sit back and stand for abuse. They should speak up, and hopefully collectively we can get the job done.
Going by the comments of the women, it is clear that the fight against domestic violence is gaining ground.
Sadly, we have a report on domestic violence and child abuse, a father's gross wickedness towards his own son. Stay with NAPTIP on the Move.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has arrested a 43-year-old man, Hamisu Ibrahim, for causing grievous bodily injury on his 12-year-old son, an offence punishable under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of the Federal Capital Territory. The suspect confessed to using electric wires to whip his son each time he offends him. Investigation is ongoing. While Hamisu Ibrahim is still in NAPTIP custody, his son has been transferred to the agency's shelter for treatment and rehabilitation.
Finally, NAPTIP was in Nasarawa State for another grassroots sensitization workshop. This was in collaboration with Honorable Abubakar Sariki Dahiru of the Lafia Obi Federal Constituency. Keep watching.
Nasarawa State was not left out in the exercise, as Honorable Abubakar Sariki Dahiru of the Lafia Obi Federal Constituency, in collaboration with the agency, also organized a sensitization workshop on domestic violence. Representative of Honorable Abubakar Sariki Dahiru, Hannatu Daniel Agias, in her welcome address, urged the participants to take the message home and sensitize other rural women.
Domestic violence, as I know, came and took dominance in Africa because of our cultural background. And get rooted also in Nigeria, because we embrace the Western culture and treat our own very far. And even those that are in the Western culture do not embrace this domestic violence the way we do. Men in this society and women in this society don't live like friends. The time has come for us to live as one family.
Her speech was followed by a musical presentation to welcome the guests. Thereafter, the representative of the agency, Nurat Lawal, gave a lecture on domestic violence in Hausa language, which was preceded by an interactive session. A drama presentation to underscore the adverse effects of domestic violence entertained the guests. Some of the participants commended the workshop.
The thing I enjoyed about this meeting, nobody enjoyed like me that come do this meeting for me. Because of women, for this Agara group, the sofa, you go see the woman, they go far together to men. The men they go carry all the thing, go sell it. The women they know they get it inside. That is why I say, if you go reach, go and tell them, thank you.
We have benefited a lot. And for what we have had from you people, the lecture we have today, from section by section, we have benefited a lot. And this will pave the way for us to make correction in our own societies and in our various homes, to correct our ways and the way our people treated their women and what sort of lives. I think the correction shall be made from today. We thank the NAPTIP, who has done it very possible best to host this program in this very hall of Gideon land. I want to thank them so much.
Strict implementation of the VAP Act is of utmost importance to NAPTIP, as the agency will not rest on its oars until domestic violence is stamped out from Nigeria.
Human trafficking, popularly known as modern-day slavery, is very much with us, even in this 21st century. It is a crime against God and humanity. You may be thinking, this message is not for me. Think again, because if you are paying your employee through an agent, you are a trafficker. If you employ a child under 12 years as a domestic worker, you are a trafficker. If you abduct a person against their will, keep and exploit them for monetary gains, you are a trafficker. If you promise international jobs with the intention to exploit the victim sexually and for cheap labor, you are a trafficker. If you buy and sell human organs, you are a trafficker. There are so many components of trafficking with devastating effects on the victims. This victim may be your daughter, son, brother, sister, mother, or father. Let us be our brother's keeper. Join hands with NAPTIP to stop human trafficking now.
Report cases of human trafficking to these NAPTIP hotlines: 0703 00 203, 080 02 255 627847. NAPTIP, empowered to protect you.
For more enquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotlines on 0703 00 203 or 0800 2255 627847 or email info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria and watch our videos on YouTube.
The message is clear. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, to gain from domestic violence, child abuse, and human trafficking. So stop it, or NAPTIP will stop you. It's time to say goodbye, but I must urge you to support NAPTIP by reporting suspected cases of human trafficking, child abuse, and domestic violence. Do keep a date with us, same time next week. I am Emmanuel Okeke, and I must thank you for watching. Goodbye.